It's the final weekend for MotoGP. It's back to Spain and Valencia for the Valencian Grand Prix. It has been one of the best, but it all comes down to this as well. Because in the Riders' Championship, Pepe Bagnaia is on 258 points. 23 points back is Fabio Quartararo. 2 points would clinch it for Bagnaia, but as we've seen here many a time in the past, it is easier said than done. Strap yourself in for the Valencia Grand Prix title decider. So it all comes down to this, the final day of MotoGP in 2022. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to warm up. The green light is on and Pecco Bagnaia is heading out onto the circuit as well. Everyone just on their first lap times, 20 minutes ahead of us then. 17:47 remain in this warm-up session, and there is a load of action to wait, a load of anticipation. It's looking good. We're not with BT Sport for the warm-ups, but let's say good afternoon to our world feed commentators of Matt Burt.
Will be intriguing. Spargaro said that you've got to show these riders a little bit more respect given how much they have on the line. If he's up alongside Bagnaia or Quartararo, he will have to be slightly more cautious. Johann Zarco said, if I have to overtake Bagnaia to find my space on the racetrack, I will do it. You have to look out for yourself at the start. And Joan Mir, who's won a championship himself here 2 years ago, said, if you're too busy being careful about one other rider, there'll be someone else behind you ready to overtake, so you have to go for it. So it will be interesting to see just what role they all play at the start, and particularly how aggressive or cautious Bagnaia chooses to be from P8.
Taking top billing today, of course, is our title decider, as you'd expect, with so much on the line, but plenty of other subplots to keep you interested in this afternoon's Motor Grand Prix of Valencia. The battle for third place in the standings, a very much game on between Aleix Espargaro and Enea Bastianini. They start 10th and 13th, respectively, just 1 point splitting those two for the coveted third spot in the championship. Jack Miller actually still has a very remote chance of seizing third in the final rankings, and it's the last dance, the final fling for the factory Suzuki team, of course. We bid farewell to the Hamamatsu factory. Alex Rins and Joan Mir onto Hondas at the Tuesday test here in Valencia. They'll be hoping to finish with a flourish. Alex Rins has looked good all weekend, actually. He starts in the middle of the second row in 5th place. Can he back up his heroics in Phillip Island a few weeks ago and finish with a flourish for the factory Suzuki squad? Joan Mir with a little bit more work to do from the back of the 4th row in 12th place, but you know he'll be going for it as well on Suzuki's farewell appearance in MotoGP.
We're going to miss Suzuki in farewell to MotoGP. There's been a lot of emotion in that pit box this weekend. There's a lovely mural at the back of the pit box with many good luck messages and well wishes towards the Team Suzuki X-Star squad. And in terms of the battle for third in the World Championship between Espargaro, Bastianini and Miller, the tactics are clear for Enea Bastianini, who does, of course, start from 13th on the grid. He's got to go for it very early on. As far as Aleix Espargaro is concerned, he said that if Bastianini is up ahead of him, of course, it's very simple for him. He just needs to overtake him and make sure that he finishes ahead. But if he's not behind Enea Bastianini, he says the team will be keeping him informed during today's Grand Prix of where Bastianini is in the race, which will of course give Aleix Espargaro a good idea of what he needs to do later on.
Pecco Bagnaia has looked tense, he has looked nervous this weekend, as you'd expect. His problem throughout the weekend on that factory Ducati has been a lack of grip on new tyres, particularly in time attack mode, and also he's been lacking front feeling, which is where he's been so supremely strong on that GP22 right from the get-go at the beginning of this season. You know he's not going to take big risks. He's not going to want to be, well, he's on course potentially for the greatest comeback in Grand Prix history. He was 91 points behind Fabio Quartararo, wasn't he, when he tipped off out of second place, chasing the Frenchman at that German Grand Prix in the Sachsenring. Well, it could be one of sport's biggest chokes if he throws away a 23-point lead over Fabio Quartararo a little bit later on this afternoon. Maverick Vinales, we should mention him as well, looking to end the season strongly for Aprilia. He'll be looking for a strong start from the back of the second row in 6th place. Both he and Alex Rins did the hard work yesterday. They came through Q1. Maverick Vinales has struggled to get that Aprilia off the line of late, hasn't he? So we'll be keeping a close eye on Vinales to see whether he can capitalise on that.
Absolutely. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on him as the session continues on. We've had some lap times. Jack Miller's gone top. Again, 1:31.376. Paul Spargo second. Fabio Quartararo third. Miguel Oliveira fourth. Fabio Di Antonio in P5. Franco Morbidelli now just going sixth as well. Johan Mir on Suzuki's last dance has jumped up into second position as well. So mighty good performance there from the team. And now we just get to see Marc Marquez as a 1:31.397, so goes into third position. Top three separated by 21 thousandths of a second at the moment, as across the line comes the 88 as well of Miguel Oliveira. Won 2 Grand Prix this year, looking good. Jack Miller, 86 thousandths up on his own best time now on the last couple of corners, looking like he can have an exciting acceleration out of the last line. He's behind Darren Binder. Miller crosses the line and goes first with a 1:31.265. So Miller improves by a tenth of a second to bring that gap back up. Very nice to see indeed. Let's head back over to the World Feed.
It's all on the line here this afternoon. Pecco Bagnaia, as we said, on the brink of being just the second Ducati rider in history to win in MotoGP. Let's get some pre-race thoughts. I'm sure he's very tense and nervous.
Yeah, because Amy's down there.
Chibati, who's with Simon. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Interview time.
Watching closely from the pit lane early on in the weekend, it looked like maybe wind affecting Pecco. His base setting changed a little bit. I looked this morning, looks like he's back towards what he normally runs. I think that looks good to me. He looks happier on the bike yesterday. I would love your thoughts from inside the garage. Today's the day.
Yeah, as you said, today's the day. Clearly, Pecco didn't find the right setup during Friday, and yesterday a little bit better, even though qualifying didn't go as expected. Obviously, we would have liked to be a little bit more in front. But I think the target today is just to stay out of troubles. And let's see a little bit how the race develops. There are many guys, I think, who have a special reason to try to win this last race. For sure, Martin, because he did a fantastic another pole position. I think he would like to bring it into a race win. For sure, Marquez would like to win a race here in front of his own crowd. And I think Jack would like also to do something special on his last outing for the Ducati Lenovo team. So, I mean, Pecco, I think, will need to see how race develops. Doesn't need to win, as we know. And let's see. Obviously, let's say main target will be to stay out of troubles.
On a lighter note, I saw a really nice atmosphere team photo on Jack's side. Can you tell us about that?
Well, yes, we made some fun because, you know, Jack has this funny mustache since quite some time, so we had some fake mustache. We put two on us with the mechanics, and so want to take this maybe last picture for a warm-up, and just you know, to show how much we like Jack.
Paolo, thank you for your time all season, and best of luck today.
Thank you. We'll keep our fingers crossed, and let's hope we have something to cheer for after the race.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks to Paolo Chibati. Yeah, best of luck to both Yamaha and Ducati for this Grand Prix this afternoon. Well, Marc Marquez has climbed out the right side of his sickbed this morning, hasn't he? Because he's got down to a 1:39.26 in this warm-up session. We're just about to reach the halfway point of it.
Indeed. So Marc Marquez goes top of the board then. 1:39.26. Miller second. Lap time cancelled for the 89 due to exceeding track limits. That's Jorge Martin on the Ducati, as well the Prima Pramac. So he drops down then. The 24-year-old from Madrid, Spain, 33rd MotoGP Grand Prix start will be here today as well. So a lot of excitement ahead of him, a lot of anticipation as well about what he can find going forward, as Colorado loses through turn 1 and 2, looking good as well on the deck. Pecco Bagnaia looking extremely confident as well, down in 8th position, 1:31.546. On board with him now. It's simples for Bagnaia to win the title here today. He's got 23 points to Fabio Quartararo. Just 2 points if Quartararo wins the race. Quartararo will have 25. That's easy. Bagnaia just needs to be in the points and he's champion. Anywhere higher than 15th for his champion. 15th to get 1 point. That'll put them level. So you've got to have, I think it's 14th or higher for Bagnaia, basically just scoring some good points. We'll have, if you join us later for the Grand Prix, we will have for you the live points as we go on the screen, ready to go to inform you everything that's happening. As well, with 8:38 to go, with this being a morning session of the World Feed, we can throw to them a lot more.
This afternoon, he'll be going for it. He doesn't have any of the pressures of a World Championship on his mind. We already heard there from Paolo Ciabatti about the importance of staying out of trouble in this afternoon's Grand Prix. I'd imagine that's also the task for the riders in this warm-up session. It is still rather chilly in the grand scheme of things. The temperature has climbed since we went on air for the start of Moto3 warm-up when it was only 9 degrees of air temperature. It's up to 15 now, but we did see in free practice 3 yesterday in the cooler conditions. A spate of crashes early on in that session. So important for all the riders, particularly the two we're looking at here, fighting for the World Championship, to get themselves back to the pit box at the end of this warm-up in one piece, not throw their bike at the scenery, and just get ready for the biggest race of their lives later on.
Just a quick update on a slight tweak to the grid for this afternoon's Valencian Grand Prix. Taka Nakagami returning on the LTR Honda after he missed the last couple of Grand Prix with those serious finger damage on his right hand after a crash on the first lap with Marc Marquez in Aragon. He qualified in 21st place, did the Japanese rider, but he was busted with a 3-place grid penalty, having impeded Jorge Martin quite badly, actually, coming out of turn number 11 in FP3 yesterday. So Nakagami with a tough end to his season. And Marco Bezzecchi, we didn't see it at the end of FP3, right at the beginning of FP3, wasn't it? He had that horrible off-throttle loss of the rear tyre, a cold rear tyre going through the fast turn 7. Big fireball crash for him. There was a little bit of a disagreement in the gravel with one of the marshals. He was penalised €1,000. Observers making physical contact with the marshal in an aggressive and unprofessional manner. They buried the hatchet though. Marco Bezzecchi was very contrite, very apologetic, and he went actually back out to turn number 7 in the lunch break yesterday to sort things out with the marshal. So all ended on a very, very good and Marco's a sound lad. I know that he would not have been one to have left that marshal thinking that there was any grievance there. So a great job that by Marco Bezzecchi just to make sure that everything was clear between the pair of them.
Yeah, you'll do well to meet a nicer guy in the paddock than Marco Bezzecchi. So I think just seeing the flames licking from his Muni VR46 Ducati perhaps led him to perhaps lose his particular temper. But Marco Bezzecchi, who's had a tough weekend, that wasn't his only crash, was it, in free practice 3? He has to start all the way back in 18th position on the grid, already crowned the Rookie of the Year in 2022. Of course, he came very close to handing Ducati the Riders' Championship last time out in Malaysia as he was chasing down Fabio Quartararo. But Bezzecchi looks as if he's had a much more tougher race on his hands today. Those are some of the messages that we might be seeing for Fabio Quartararo. That's perhaps just telling him where Enea Bastianini will be in the race, but I think the main information they'll be giving Fabio Quartararo is where Pecco Bagnaia is in the race, particularly if a victory is possible during this race for Quartararo.
Pecco Bagnaia is settling the nerves a little bit this morning in this warm-up session. He's found a 1:31.254. That's got him up to 5th place. That's just about as high as we've seen Bagnaia in any session so far this weekend. It's not been an easy task for him to deal with the high-pressure situation. Well, these beautiful conditions have made not an easy weekend for Michelin, but it seems like the tyre choice not a complicated one for the riders coming up in the Grand Prix later on this afternoon. Let's get some pre-race thoughts towards the end of this warm-up session from Michelin Motorsport Manager Gaetano Masso. He's with Simon.
He is. Piero, early in the weekend, a lot of riders were talking about the soft rear tyre, and then more and more in debriefs talking about the medium. Can you run through what you think the race tyres will be today?
Yes, the tyre choice looks quite clear. Yesterday we had a good day without wind. The track conditions were quite good, and so all the riders they agreed that the front tyre will be the hard because it's the one who's giving more stability, a better feedback. Also the consistency through the race, to the distance will be fine. For the rear, the big majority will be with the rear medium. Because the difference with the soft, in potential is not that big. It's less than usual. So the medium has got very similar grip at the soft, but it's more consistent with less movement. but we can see 3 or 4 bikes with the soft on the rear. Also the soft is raceable. You can do the distance about the consumption, about wear. It's not a problem. And those riders, they like the soft just because the behavior, they feel more linear. So both solution, they will be on the race, but many more with the medium on the rear.
I know this circuit is not tough on tyres compared to Phillip Island, etc., but there are a lot of long corners. Riders are right on the edge grip for a long time. Do you see any drop during the race? And if so, when?
Yes, the experience we have from yesterday and the day before is that after 5-6 laps, you can feel a little drop, then it stay quite consistent through the end, and then the last 3-4 laps also you feel another drop down, especially on the left side on the rear. This is that will be the behavior of the tire.
Piero, thank you as always.
Thank you. Bye.
Simon Crafar down in the pit lane for us. 3 minutes to go then of this warm-up session at the moment. It's Jan Zarco on top with a 1:38.85. Marc Marquez is second, Jack Miller third, Johan Mir fourth, Luca Marini fifth. Anea Bashini is in 6th position at the moment as well. 7th for Maverick Vinales, 8th Alex Rins, 9th Pablo Bagnaia, 10th Miguel Oliveira, Fabio Quartararo down in 11th, Nakagami is 12th, Alex Marquez 13th, 14th Franco Morbidelli, 15th Brad Binder, Paul Espargaro in 16th as well, and it looks like that is the situation we're going to run with for the remainder of the session as Bagnaia, P9, knows exactly what he needs to do, needs to just score points inside the top 14, and he's world champion. If Quartararo does fail, by the way, all Bagnaia needs is 2 points to get it over the 25 limit because he's had more wins this year than Quartararo. Quartararo won in Portugal, he won in Catalonia, he won in Germany, and that's it. 3 race victories compared to Bagnaia's, who won in Spain, Italy, Netherlands, Britain, Austria, San Marino and Malaysia. 7 race victories for Bagnaia to just 3 for Quartararo this year. That's really a sign of what's happened to that Yamaha this season as well, and how good the Ducati's been as well. Bagnaia would have won a lot more in the first half of the season despite crashes in Qatar. He crashed in France, crashed in Catalonia, crashed in Germany and crashed in Japan as well. So it's all getting close there. As Miller comes across the line as a 1:31.059, stays third. Martin stays second, 1:31.338. Final word then from the World Free guys, then I'll be back with 30 seconds to go.
Down the pit lane, staying on Hondas. Marquez with those new seat wings, his teammate now, Tucker has them as well. Brad Binder, the new chassis that turned up this weekend, he's using them on both bikes. Seems to go well in qualifying. Let's hope it does in the race too. Pecco, like I mentioned earlier, went off his usual base setting. He doesn't change his bike very much. He likes it to stay the same, gets confidence from that. He's back more on that base setting, and I think that's a good sign. In general, that's the exciting things anyway.
Thanks very much, Simon, down there in the pit lane for us then. So Honda looking good, and the anticipation is rising. Moto 3 coming up, of course, the first race. Moto 2 has a title decider. MotoGP will be live for on YouTube as well at 12:30 GMT. With all the build-up to the Grand Prix. No, because we've done this weekend live, there's no highlights, we're just straight into the race, talking. Megan will be with me. We'll be talking about the race, we're talking about Bagnaia, we'll throw it down to BT Sport as well, we'll have some great interviews, and then we'll just all get ready for what's going to be a fantastic Grand Prix. You know it, I know it's going to be absolutely magical as well. Checker flag is out then. That's it then. Practice all over, qualifying all over, warm-ups all over. The time for talking has stopped. The time for action to begin is coming up here in Valencia. Will it be Bagnaia? Will it be Quartararo in the decider here in Valencia? The first time we've headed to Valencia for a title decider since 2018. That's a long, long time since we've had a title, maybe even 2017, thinking about it, since we've had a title decider here as well. So that's back when I was mainly commentating with this headset here as well, the USB headset as well, and before we even had these Audio Technicas. That's a long time ago as well. as they come through. Bagnaia waving to the crowd. Ever the showman. And why wouldn't you be, to be fair? Why wouldn't you be? Looks like you've got a great situation coming up. Bagnaia across the line, stays 6th on the board. That should be something nice to see coming up later as well. Got a Galaxy Flip Z4, whatever it is. Advert coming up before what we need comes on the board. Miller out of the last corner then. Another one to complete the lap times. 3rd at the moment. And he's the last one as Dan Binder's in the pits. Miller stays 3rd then. 1:31.225 his last lap time. His fastest 1:30.983 as well. Okay then. That's it. Session over. Time to take a look then at the results for this championship warm-up session. If we can get the graphics open, there we go. So then, here's your runners and riders as we do see a practice start at the back of the grid. It's Jan Zarco who ends the warm-up session fastest. Marc Marquez is 2nd, Jack Miller 3rd, Joan Mir 4th, Luca Marini 5th, and Enea Bastianini 6th, Maverick Vinales 7th, Alex Rins 8th, Pepe Bagnaia is 9th, and Miguel Oliveira 10th. Fabio Quartararo 11th, Jorge Martin 12th, Takaki Nakagami 13th, Paulo Spargaro 14th, Brad Binder 15th, Alex Marquez 16th, Franco Morbidelli 17th, Marco Bezzecchi 18th, Remy Gardner 19th, Aleix Spargaro is 20th, Fabio Antonio 21st, Cal Crutchlow 22nd, Raul Fernandez 23rd, Darren Binder is 24th. That's it then, warm-up completed. We'll be back at 12:30 GMT for all the action for MotoGP's Valencia Grand Prix, the showdown. Who will be world champion? Fabio Quartararo or Pepe Bagnaia? Join us at 12:30 with lights out at 1 to find out. Bye for now.